Hi, and welcome to my studio here in the California desert. My main studio is in Los Angeles, and I have one here in the desert, in fact, near an airport. I don't know if you can hear that, but it's a great spot. And I've recently outfitted it with a paint cart and some other storage units I want to show you. Hopefully, they'll be helpful. I designed this cart that's here behind me. It's all made out of half-inch plywood. I'm 6'1", so I decided what's the most comfortable height for the counter for me. This is 24 by 72 inches wide, so it's a really great space. I have slanted shelves on top, so I can see all my paints, grab them, see they're organized by color, obviously. A high shelf for more stuff like brushes and other things that I use. And then down below is the storage of my paint inventory for all my oil paints. And I purposely the shelves down here are adjustable, but they're not very deep, so nothing gets lost in back. They're just about the length of a paint tube. Really works out great. So that gave me space for additional shelves in back, which are wonderful. Then on top of that, this high shelf so I can grab things. It's really great to be able to, when you're painting and in the zone, you don't want to walk across your studio to grab something else. The things you use the most when you're painting should be right there and handy for you.
Let's take a look at the diagrams I drew up for the paint cart. They're a little funky, but I think they did the job. Here's a 3D view of the cart showing how it should look somewhat. I have named all the different parts so it's clear what sections and parts go together with dimensions. Here's a side view that helps explain how it's put together a little more, and you can see the slanted shelves, those diagonals, and then a lip needs to be added so the tubes don't fall off. There's a comment about that. Here's a little detail sheet because the counter needed a notch in them so that it would fit together. And over here, I planned all the sheets out in advance that get cut up. Plywood sheets are 96 by 48. Planning that. And again, all distinctive names like middle divider and back panel, counter, side panel, and so forth. This was really fun to do. It was so exciting to build a cart. I wish, the one thing I regret is I wish I'd made it a little deeper. It's only 24 inches deep, the counter, and I wish I'd done 30. I could use a little more room. But anyway, I'm so grateful. It was such a treat to build it and have it now. Very exciting, and I hope this helps you maybe think about what equipment, shelving, paint cart, or whatever you might want to have for your studio.
So I had 3 cabinets made per my design to store my canvases. So here's the first cabinet, cabinet 1, which is 30 inches deep, almost goes to the ceiling, custom built to fit here in this space. It's on wheels and it works out great. It stores a lot of art. I even have some additional adjustable shelves so that I can change those depending on the inventory and the paintings that I happen to have. And then once this was built, there was leftover plywood that I knew I would have. So I had cabinet number 2 built. It's much more shallow, so smaller paintings go in this. It works out great. Again, it's on wheels. And then I had these flat files. And what I did with these is I realized I had this space above it that was not utilized. So cabinet number 3 is, again, it's a cabinet that holds these works. Again, plywood. Did all the diagrams for the guy that built them for me. And then I hope to, over here, as you can see, there's all this empty space up here in the sky, if you will, and it's underutilized. And it's a small studio, and I'm kind of crammed for space. So I'm going to my next project is to have a shelf come off the back of this cabinet out and over with posts going up, and I'll have a nice high shelf here so I can get stuff up high and utilize that space.
Let's take a look at the diagrams for the 3 cabinets I had built. This is shelving to hold paintings. Here's cabinet 1. Everything's out of 3/4 inch plywood. Of course, it's on wheels. Double layers on the base. Here's the planning for the plywood. Here's cabinet 2 now, which is actually mostly leftover pieces from building cabinet 1. So I had all this extra wood that I was able to build another cabinet from. And here is a very quick, sloppy sketch of how to use the plywood. Somehow it worked out. And then here's cabinet 3, which goes on top of flat files. And here's a little diagram just so it's clear how it fits together. And that's the schematic for it, which is just a tiny little sketch. And here's the planning for the plywood. And some of these were built kind of at the same time, so the overlap, you see there's some boards that are actually going over to the paint cart. So that's the plans. These were really great to build. It was so fun. And it's just an amazing resource to have proper storage in my studio, to be able to roll them around and move them if I need to. So I encourage everyone to think about how they might do something like this, and I hope it's helpful.
So most artists, if you're like me, I stand up when I paint all day. I never sit down when I paint. So I'm on my feet all day. And what I would highly recommend, not only to protect the floor, but to give your feet and your knees a little bit more cushion, are these interlocking foam mats. And what's great about them, they're very inexpensive. You can configure them how you want, reconfigure at a moment's notice. They're really great. The cushion is wonderful. These are 1/2 inch, they come thicker, but keep in mind that if you have any carts like I have, which are on wheels, the thicker the foam, the more the wheels are going to kind of sink in and get a little stuck. So I went with the 1/2 inch. And also, just a side note, the bigger wheels that you have on your carts, the better. Go really big. Those are 4-inch wheels. And the reason for that is they roll better and they won't get as kind of stuck on this foam. But this is really great. Save your ankles, save your feet, save your knees. If they're not hurting now, they're going to at some point if you don't do something like this. I have 2 other videos here on my YouTube channel that are really popular about how to set up a studio, and I recommend that you watch them. Subscribe to my channel if you want to, or like it, or comment. You're welcome to. That's great. One thing that I haven't done here that contradicts my advice in another video, because I just haven't gotten to it yet, is the wall color here is not white. And that's unfortunate. This is a really yellowy wall, as you can see, and not ideal. So I do plan to paint this white. That really helps. The other thing is that even these cabinets over here, there's just too much color in them. I'm thinking I want to paint them like a light gray. So again, I get all this other color out, and the only color in the room should be the painting I'm working on and the paints. That's really where I want to see color. So I want this neutral, all white, low color saturated studio. So thank you so much for watching. Again, subscribe to my channel if you would. And again, there's 2 really great videos on here about art studios that I recommend you watch. Like and comment all you want. I always answer everyone. And thank you for watching. Take care.